Hey guys, welcome to NTI Day 10. Read with me. I hope you all are having a great day so far. It is Friday. Today we're going to be reading a fiction text. Once again, all week we've been looking at fiction text. So we're going to have character, setting, plot, problem, solution, those kind of things. And you want to think about, is this realistic or is this non-realistic, which would be like fantasy kind of thing. So today we're reading Building a Bridge. And let's go on and jump in. All right. Summer vacation had just begun, and Alex and Maria were ready to spend all day outside. They decided to walk to the neighborhood park, where there was a river that they liked to swim in when it was particularly hot. Alex and Maria began to sweat as they walked, even though their house was only 10 minutes away from the park's entrance. When they got to the river, they saw that it was too shallow to swim in. Shallow. The rocks that made up the bed of the river were even poking out of the water in some places, glistening in the sun. Okay, so if the water's too shallow to swim in, then is that too deep or it's not deep enough? And if you're seeing the rocks poking out of the water in some places, what do you all think? Would that be too deep or not deep enough? Alex and Maria were frustrated. On the other side of the river, about 50 yards away, and in a welcoming courtyard, there was a fountain spewing water in beautiful arcs. We should go play in the fountain, Maria said. How will we get there? Asked Alex. They thought for a moment. They knew if they walked upriver, they would eventually come to a walkway that crossed the river, but it was so hot, and they were eager to get to the fountain. Maria looked around the grassy riverbank and noticed a few logs and branches lying close to the water. We could build a bridge, she said. She ran over to a thick tree branch that looked long enough to be placed across the river. Together, she and Alex hefted the branch onto their shoulders and walked it to the water. Here, they stopped. How would they get the branch across? Maria suggested throwing it down into the water and seeing if it reached the other side. Not bad. That seemed imprecise to Alex. So here we have the prefix "im" meaning not, using the base word or with the base word precise, which means accurate. So he's thinking, maybe not. What if the branch did not reach the other side of the river and got stuck or swept away by the water? Then they would be unable to walk all the way across the river. Maria wondered if they could measure the distance from the riverbank they stood on to the other shore. They put the log carefully down and decided to test the distance with lighter, thinner branches. They found a few wispy branches by the spot where they had first found the log, and they tied the branches together using their hair bands. On their first attempt, they tied two branches together and went back to the river to test the length. The branches barely reached the center of the swirling water. After tying two more branches together to the initial branches, Alex and Maria were able to get the thin makeshift model bridge to touch the far bank. Hooray, Maria said. Now we know how long the log needs to be. Very cool. They set the tied branches on the ground next to the log. The log was luckily the exact length of the tied branches. Now Alex and Maria had to figure out how to make sure the log was secure on both sides of the bank before they walked across it to reach the other side of the river. I know, Alex said. She began to gather thinner branches, like the ones they had tied together, which were pliable and easy to bend. Okay, so pliable, that's a new word. So that using the easy to bend context clues, I could think that pliable would be like flexible or easy to manipulate. She twisted them together into a tight bundle, then laid them horizontally across the edges of the log. Then she and Maria hauled some of the stones out of the river and placed them on the branches on either side of the log. In this way, they were able to stabilize the log at least on one side in order to run across. When Alex and Maria got to the other side of the river, they secured the other side of the log with more branches and rocks and looked back at their handiwork. It had been a good day's work, but now they were free to enjoy the cool water in the fountain. All right, this is probably another text that you could kind of draw out something that the characters did in order to solve the problem. So the hot air balloon was similar to that too yesterday. All right, so your multiple choice questions. You always want to read all of your answer choices completely before marking an answer. You can use the process of elimination, slash and trash, of course, and always go back and underline the support for every answer, and then you can put the paragraph number next to each question. Let's see, for our short answer questions. Ooh, okay. It was important to measure the distance across the river before putting the log in the water. Use evidence from the story to prove or disprove this statement. So, this statement, it was important to measure the distance across the river before putting the log in the water. Is there any evidence that is in the text that will support that, yes, that was important? Or is there evidence in the text that would show, no, that wasn't really important? That wasn't a critical step. So go back and look to see what piece of evidence could either support that it was important or support that it wasn't important. So that's what disprove would be like it is not important. So this one here, I guess don't worry about an RA. Just write down the actual quote, that evidence from the text, the site that would show whether or not it proves or disproves. Number 9, what are 2 ways Alex helps to solve the problem facing her and Maria? So yes, okay, so you would restate this one and answer. You will underline the site in your text. Number 10, you are going to have to include the site in this because it says use evidence to support your answer. If Alex and Maria had not worked together to solve their problem, what might have happened? So here you're going to restate answer. A site is going to have to be included in your answer. So you want to write down the answer, not just underline it in the text. All right. Okay, so that is today's Read With Me. I hope you all are enjoying my videos that I'm posting to kind of get through some of the reading with you all. Next week, we're going to focus on science content. So I hope that'll be a nice little change up for you guys and give you all something different to